How you doing, folk? So I just want to speak about something slightly different. You know, after all the World Cup and everything, I've been seeing a lot of the comments and stuff like that, and I'm no having a go or nothing. There are some people that make Scotland out or Britain out as if we're this third world country, and I think I watched a video and someone was commenting saying, you know, the United Kingdom economy were apparently poorer than the poorest state of Mississippi or something. And I'm thinking to myself, a lot of these people love to talk down about Britain.
At the next stop sign, turn right.
They typically overlook the problems in their own country. I don't go about comparing to the United States, and it's a stupid thing to do anyhow. When you look at the size of the United States and everything, I mean, the United States has had its own problems. Britain's problem and stuck with the Labour Party. But this is a temporary thing, and the reason why it happened is simply because Conservative Party bombed it, you know what I mean? And they haven't helped any. This is why Reform are in the lead, because people have had enough. But if you cast your mind back, and again, I'm not having a go at everybody, but there were certain Americans that were having a go and going on about how, oh well, we don't, you know, see people getting arrested and all sorts because we've got the First Amendment and are kind of boasting about it. Britain is no longer out the European Union, and we've got issues. But it's because the Labour Party get into government. The Labour Party are a joke. They're not going to last. It kind of reminds you of the way, you know, the Democrat Party get into government in the United States. The United States isn't much better itself when it comes to the Republican Party, and it's kind of like the way the Conservative Party is. A lot of people don't even understand what capitalism is. I've seen a lot of these so-called conservatives defending and justifying all the socialist protectionist tariffs and all sorts. When I look at the United States, I want to see the United States better off. You know, I've not got anything against American people as a whole. You know, there's a lot of wonderful people over there. You see with the World Cup and people with the reactions, I do think that some of the reactions are a bit over the top. You know, the type of people that are very performative. See, I'm not like that. I'm just straight up and honest. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of wonderful stuff over there in the United States, like in terms of food and stuff like that, and places to visit. I don't know if it's social media that's doing it, but the way that some of them come across, they speak about our countries like as if we're third world nations, and they deride us. And then you get ones that laugh at us because it's something to do with the Labour Party having 12,000 odd people arrested for social media posts and stuff like that. You only have to cast your mind a wee bit back, and the United States had the highest incarceration rate, or people getting arrested for possession of cannabis and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But I'm sure that a lot of American people are no like what the stereotypes that are made out to be, and that's something I agree with in terms of a lot of these videos. You know, I've made good friends with a number, and one's just currently over in Ireland at the moment. He just recently went over because he's studying there. He's originally from Louisiana. He's been living in Texas. He was actually the one that introduced me to the likes of Ron Paul and Tom Woods and stuff like that. There's a lot of genuinely good people in the United States that love my country and are aware of our history. Then there's a lot of them that are just completely oblivious. There's some Americans that think Scotland has just been another cog in the machine. So what does that mean? It means that there are certain American people that think Scotland's just another country that played its wee part in the United States, interwoven along with the rest of them. I don't even think a lot of them even realise the impact that Scotland had on their modern world, never let alone that to do with their entire country and its history. From its Declaration of Independence right to its constitutional republic, to its Second Amendment. And I blame the education system for all that, folk. And you know, I watch all these videos, and it's the comments that get me, because the way they're talking is as if to run us down as a country, and then you get certain Americans that turn around and say, oh well, I wouldn't ever want to visit, you know, Britain. I wouldn't ever want to. I'm thinking to myself, Are you fucking joking, man? The way that they talk is almost as if to say that we're some sort of a fucking dictatorship. If that was the case, I'd have been fucking arrested a long time ago. Look at my videos. That's hardly a fucking dictatorship, man. We've got problems. Don't get us wrong. You know what it is? It's typically the people that are talking about subjects that are touchy with stuff to do with religion and that. I get that. That's a problem. And then there's the recent talk that they want to fucking target our social media. That's a problem in of itself. Nobody denies it. That's the reason why we need to get rid of the Labour Party. Never vote the Labour Party ever in again. It's like voting in the 𝗿𝗶𝗃𝗏 Party. It depends on who's in government at the time. I mean, we do have our problems in Britain, just like the United States has got its specific problems. I'm not going to run American people down for that. Just like I wasn't going to run American people down for 𝗂𝗏, the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone. That's to do with specific individuals. If anything, I would rather see the United States free its economy up and go towards a capitalist system. And by the way, much of those ideals came off the back of Scotland. After all, where do you think Adam Smith was born? I think he's spitting a rain. Very ever so slightly at the moment. But aye, you have to be careful with social media in that sense. Honestly, man, some people just frustrate you, man. And I know that I'm not going to judge all American people based off specific individuals that I see in the fucking comment section. I mean, don't get us wrong, we've got a fucking stuff like an inflationary crisis, a debt crisis, but it's no like as if to say, oh well, if you leave the United States and come to Britain, you're going to be so impoverished that there's not going to be any food there and you'll be starving to death. Pay attention to Americans that come here on holiday and say that they absolutely love this country. Let me give you a prime example. You've got folk on these videos going on about, oh, we've got free refills and all the rest of this. I remember sitting in a bar or a pub, and because of the fact that I was wanting water, I went up to the bar and I asked, is it alright if I just get a drink of water for the tap or that? And you know, you want to know why I say that? Because Scotland has the cleanest water in the world. I honestly can't think of a place that hasn't given us ice in a glass. And I'm seeing all these videos where they're mentioning on Instagram and everything, they're mentioning about how, oh, they've got ice in America and places in Europe they don't even put ice in it. It's like, look, let me put it this way. Europe is a continent, just like, you know, North America is a continent in of itself. Europe is no like the United States, is what I'm basically trying to tell you. You only have to go from Scotland into England, whether folk like it or not. I'm not saying this as if it's a bad thing. It's actually a beautiful thing. It's the great thing about Europe. If you go from Scotland into England, culturally we are. There are certain crossovers and similarities, but we are different as a people. We're different as culturally, and that's a great thing. You know, it's beautiful. It's no something negative. I'm not saying that as if it's, you know, something bad. But this is the point, because from country to country, we're all different from one another. We're not the same. It's not like you in the United States, where it's a melting pot. It's not at all like that, although there will be differences culturally. This talk about toilets, and they say about how, oh well, you have to pay for toilets. Where's this? The only thing I can think of is Glasgow Central Station, whether they still do it or not. Right? It wasn't like that when I was a wee boy, but see outside of that, everywhere I can think of, you do not pay for toilets. So what are they going on about? This is exactly what I mean. You can't take these people seriously when they go on about all these things. Now, where you're going to see the differences between the United States is obviously space. Everything's larger. The food portions are obviously going to be larger. Now, there is these other folk, and again, they're so performative, and they were harping off about Costco's. These were people from, I don't know, like in Britain, and they were going to the United States during the World Cup. and they're going on about Costco as if they're amazed, and I'm thinking to myself, what are you going on about? I think there's even one lassie, and I think she was from Scotland. I'm thinking to myself, you must come from some place that's out in the middle of nowhere, like out in the Hebrides or something, and you've never been to Glasgow. Why do I say that? The truth of the matter is, folk, we've got Costco in Glasgow. It's been there for years. You get to try the samples, you know, all that usual stuff. That's normal, which is a good thing. I think more places should do that. There was even Macros that used to be here. That was a German company. Now, what do I mean by performative? It comes across like an act. I'm just somebody that tells it like it is. And sometimes it's just a case that the performative attitude is just a bit too fake for my liking. And that's no disrespect to the United States. There's a lot of wonderful stuff there to see and food and that. What I would love to try though is, don't get us wrong, like barbecues, the Texan barbecues, the massive portions and stuff like that. That would be amazing. Like there's no question about that, right? It'd be amazing. We do have like great stuff here, but the way that some of these people come across on these videos, man, it's just unreal. And they're making us out as if we're fucking, oh we're so impoverished. Oh, we're crying because we're in Britain. What? And two of the, I don't even want to go on about them. Two of the most fake ones that I've seen, I won't even mention their names. They're now calling themselves American and that. The guy even goes as far, he's from fucking Britain, I know. The guy even goes as far as to call it soccer, and I'm like, what the fuck are you? I'm thinking to myself, mate, you are so fucking false, man. You're so fake. You were born and raised in Britain. You've not even got 1 ounce of self-respect, and you're fucking calling it soccer. You know what it is? He hates himself. He hates his own identity. He's lost all pride in everything to do with being English. And it's, again, no offence to you American people or that, but see if you can sacrifice your own identity for being British, then what the fuck are you? Sad, man. I'm proud to be Scottish. You're fucking right, am I? I was born in the land that fucking invented the modern world. Sir Winston Churchill had basically stated, of all the small nations of this earth, perhaps only the ancient Greeks could surpass the Scots to the contribution of mankind. I'm proud of that. I don't forget my identity. Wherever I go, just like you seen in the World Cup in the Tartan Army. Did you see the Tartan Army coming out and speaking how ashamed they are to be Scottish? No, did you fuck? did you fuck, man? That's not the case with us Scots. I can't understand folk that go on these videos and they'll run Britain down to fuck. I mean, alright, we've got our problems, man. As a proud Scot, I look at ways to we fight to change things. I don't know whether they've had it battered out of them, that they've lost all pride in their identity. You've got to be proud of your identity and your heritage and stuff like that, proud of where you come from. A lot of these people I see, they're no common in Britain, put it that way. See, most people that are British, regardless of whether you're Scottish, Welsh and that, a lot of people I know are very, very proud of their identity. They stand by that. It's why I speak the way that I do, folk. Alright, there was a period that I went through, I won't even bother going into it, but I speak the way that I do, because I'm proud of my identity as a Scot. That's something I'll no change. Well, it's not been raining in Scotland for a bit, folk. It seems that this has been building up, because it's been for I think like the past 2 weeks of that.
At the roundabout, take the second exit towards Glasgow and Edinburgh.
So I'll get around to doing a video at some point. I don't know if immediately, because I'm going to do more reading and make sure I put together a good video on the central banking and stuff like that, you know what I mean? But I've just came across a lot of these videos, man. The way that they paint Britain is as if we're some fucking country like that's not get electricity and all that. And by the way, it was Scotland that invented air conditioning. Like, I think the hottest days is like 26 degrees Celsius. I get it. In certain countries like Italy and that, you expect you would have
take the second exit towards
air conditioning and what have you. Most of our weather consists of what you've basically got the now, And I guarantee you, without me even looking at the temperature, like, it's probably about 16 degrees Celsius or something. Fuck knows what that is in Fahrenheit. I think what is that, 60 Fahrenheit or something? Fuck knows. I've not even got a Scooby-Doo, man. Oh, here we go. It's absolutely pelting down now. The economy in Britain, things are not going to change until we get a proper government in power. It's very much similar to the way things are in the United States. Because you've got a lot of people that think they're living in some sort of a capitalist system, they're justifying the mess of the economy today. I reckon the Labour Party purposely tore the arse out of Britain's economy with the high taxes. That's so that they can turn around and say, oh well, you know, Brexit didn't work, so we need to re-enter the European Union. You can see right through them. I don't deride other countries just because of their current political and economic situation. And it's sad that certain folk do that. I don't have anything against folk. I'm not going to tar everybody with a one brush. I've got absolutely nothing against folk in general. There's a lot of good folk out there. You know, I don't even base the value in my country, like I say. I don't even base it on the current state of the economy and that. Never have. I shall talk to you later. No doubt I'll look out today a few more videos on some other different topics and that I'll look at. And if you've got any requests, then you can request. And I shall talk to you later. Right, bye.